Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Circling Seattle Sports. We're going to do another Storm postgame report solo. Again, Charles Hamaker here with you. This coming after the, as you can see in the corner, 95 to 57 road win over the Chicago Sky. Seattle with large margin of victory, obviously. They continue to sit in the fourth place spot in the league standing wise. They sit third in the West behind Minnesota and Phoenix, who they're tied with wins and with Phoenix. Two more losses than Phoenix, but yeah, they win their next game. You know, that's a possibility there to move up. The 38-point differential for Seattle in this win is the team's fifth largest margin of victory in franchise history. I believe it's their largest road margin of victory in franchise history. They've won a few times by 37, I think three, 2006, 2022, and 2017. 2017 was against Chicago also, which is kind of funny. This is a big one. This is a big one. Obviously, the last game out wasn't great for Seattle. It was tough to not have Skylar Diggins, someone who I've said on this Storm postgame report should be an MVP candidate, considering her value to this team and how much she drives the team. And then in that loss at home to Dallas, you kind of saw that. Not kind of, you saw that. Dick Fain and Elise Woodward on the um, Storm broadcast, which having the highlights on and listening to the audio for their broadcast, it makes you really appreciate Dick Fain and Elise Woodward. Because wow. Anyway, um, the differential of efficiency and a bunch of other things when Skylar Diggins is not on the court was when she is on the court as compared to not on the court for Seattle, it's staggering. So, being able to get her back, she missed that Dallas game due to personal reasons. It was announced, I think, an hour before the game. So I hope she's doing all right, of course. Hope everything's all right. You never know with personal reasons, it's always tough. You just hope. Um, Sorry, we're almost done with the Charles burned his shoulders fiasco, but right now I'm all flaky like a lizard. Um, you just hope everything's all right with the personal reason. You want to respect privacy and, but also, wishing nothing but the best, of course. So, um, yeah, start a 3-game road trip for Seattle with a win in Chicago. Chicago, it was tough. Chicago's missing essentially like a starting five. Angel Reese was out, um, which is obviously a big loss. Um, Courtney Vandersloot, Ariel Atkins, Michaela Onyenwere, all out. All of them with leg or knee injuries, except for Reese, who's dealing with a back injury. Onyenwere dealing with a knee injury. Courtney Vandersloot dealing with a knee injury. Ariel Atkins dealing with a leg injury. So, almost missing a starting five for this guy. But even with that, when I saw that on the broadcast before the game, I said, all right, um, you still need to handle business, right? We've seen Seattle not be able to handle business before on this season, at home against Las Vegas on the first, the Golden State games on the road, the Indiana game at home, um, the Connecticut game on the road, the Mystics game, and that Dallas game just ugly. So, um, you know, sorry, I will open this. I flashed this on the Mariners podcast we shot for the Josh Naylor trade. Sugar-free Red Bull. Save me sugar-free Red Bull. It's all right. It doesn't taste like gasoline. Um, no, I mean, I think this game just it showed me that Seattle was able to bounce back after losses. I think I've talked about it on here. You always look for a bounce back, a response to how a team loses when they lose, not just losing, but losing in embarrassing fashion, right? Losing in a game where you essentially get slapped in the face, which what that Wings game was. You lose in big fashion at home to a Dallas team that is underachieving, of course, or I don't know about underachieving considering we knew they wouldn't be a playoff team, but they've got less than double-digit wins. You're on your home court. You're without your point guard, yes, but you should be a better, more complete team, and you didn't look like that. in that game. So, um, to get to win 15 here in Chicago, to score nearly 100, to be able to play basically your entire roster double digit minutes almost. Mackenzie Holmes at 6 minutes, Zaya Cook at 8 minutes, just short, but you know, and even then, I know so often we've talked, me and you have talked about the bench and the lack of production from the bench. We've gotten plenty of comments about it on social media, in the YouTube comments, which I largely agree. We've talked about this, right, my friend? Um, got some unlikely contributions, so we'll go into that. But no, we'll look at the game first itself. Seattle came out strong to begin it. 24 to 9 run in the first quarter, held Chicago to just 26 points in the first half in total, tied for the lowest scoring half by a Storm opponent this entire season. They've got a 13-point lead going into halftime. Seattle was able to outscore Chicago 56-31 in the second half, and they shot about 73% from the field, just over. Excuse me, 73% from the field. And just five, 8 3-pointers in this game. They didn't really need to shoot that many in total. 5 or 8, sorry, in the second half. 12 for 15 and no, 9 for 20 in total, 45%. 38-point win. Seattle led as many by 39, the largest lead of the season. Team season high 39 rebounds and 31 defensive rebounds. They doubled Chicago's scoring output in the paint, 48-28. Um, oh wait, nearly. Um, yeah, weird. Okay. Sorry, I'm looking at the stats here. That's like not exactly doubling. Um, One of the bigger things was Seattle uh, was able to build a lead. They held Chicago scoreless for 7 minutes and 23 seconds, the longest scoreless stretch by the Storm defense since 2015. So, a decade ago, I was 14. No. Uh, Um, just the big thing that stuck out to me, from the three main things, yeah, that stick out to me was the defensive intensity, and that could be tied to my second one was Skylar Diggins being back. Team high 21, I believe it's a game high as well. Yep, team high, game high, 21 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 blocks, including one on Camila Cardoso, which did not expect, but hey, I will take it. Skylar occasionally gets the block in there, here and there. Um, and just the bench showing up. I guess one of my big things that I want. Oh, yeah, a few players go into that bench because Dominique Malonga, 14 points, 10 rebounds. Yes, she had that double double. We'll get the exact numbers on this one, but the Dominique Malonga double double makes her the youngest player in WNBA history to record a double double, surpassing Liz Cambage. Wow, that's a name I have not heard in a long time. Cambage did it 19 years, 290 days. Malonga does it 19 years, 250 days. So, um, really nice to see that from Dom. Uh, you know, we'll get to it, but one of the big things that was really nice to see was some of these bench players just looked a lot more comfortable in this game than to some other games. Um, Not all of them, not the best night from some. Tiffany Mitchell, who has been really solid for Seattle since she signed from Vegas. When Seattle finally reached the number to be able to sign her. Um, so, uh, you know, give her a pass here. 1 assist, 1 steal, 1 personal foul, but +6, plus minus. And 18 minutes of play, over 3 from the field. Mackenzie Holmes only played 6 minutes. 1 rebound, 1 steal, 1 personal foul, +3. Can't judge a lot off that. But to see, and Alicia Clark finally was able to score the basketball. She's had a stretch of being unable to score. 4 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists in 19 minutes, 2 for 2 from the field. That's not bad. That's a lot better than what she's been able to, would produce, or lack thereof, in recent games. But Dominique Malonga and Lexie Brown, yes, Lexie Brown were the two ones to look at from the bench here. As I mentioned, Malonga 14 points, 10 rebounds. She also added 3 assists and 2 blocks in this one. But Lexie Brown in 16 minutes, 5 for 5 from the field, 2 3-pointers, 12 points, 2 assists, 2 steals, and she just looked more comfortable than I've ever seen her play in a Storm jersey. I know I'm getting ahead of the more impressive performances than in regards to Diggins and Malonga, but I guess it's just been it was so weird to see her look so comfortable and just was efficient, was able to contribute really well. That was really great to see. She was able to, there was few games ago, I believe it was, she was able to drive into the paint a few times. I said, this is I think it was our last game with Rowan. The last Storm post-game report we did with Rowan after the win over Golden State, where I was like, I think I saw a few of those. I think I saw her drive, you know. Did that. I think in the third quarter, she had a big steal and an easy bucket on the other end. She went coast to coast on that. Um, or nearly coast to coast. Just looked more comfortable, looked more fluid. Again, I don't like to assume it's health related or anything like that. She just, but it's so irregardless in regards to her, effectively not contributing throughout the large majority of this season so far. Um, Coming into game number 25 of the season tonight. But it just looked like a different basketball player out there, at least in my opinion. You can tell me if you think otherwise. I'm always open, as I've said, to open discussion, to fair discussion, as long as you're not insulting me. Happy to have those discussions, happy to get your viewpoint on things. But yeah, it was just pretty fascinating to see that and to see her be able to, contribute in that regard. Skylar Diggins, though, yeah, man. I mean, last game really highlighted it, and uh just seeing the value that she has is I would put her up in the top five for MVP voting, probably top four, honestly. So you see her come back a plus minus of plus 34. The only player who had higher than her was Ezzy Magbagor at plus 39, which is disgusting. Ezzy 9 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 3 blocks in this one. I'll never forget. There's this writer for this aggregator outlet, whatever you want to call them, that was like, oh, it's time to put in Dominique Malonga over Ezzy Magbagor. And I was like, that's just not, they don't play the same position. That's not, uh don't think that's not gonna happen. They don't play the same position. I really like Dom. I've said that several times here. I've been a big proponent of her getting more minutes, as just about everybody has, right? But that's just not how that works. Sure enough, Izzy's been playing pretty solid basketball since then. She only took 6 shots in this one. Um, so I'm not too worried about her offensive production. Nearly every starter in double digits except for Ezzy, who is the 1 point off. But again, plus 39 plus minus is ridiculous basketball. That is, you are almost 40 point. Yeah, that is ridiculous. Um, excuse me. But yeah, with Skylar coming back, just some of the basketball in that last game against Dallas when she wasn't in, to Neka's point, she did try her best. She's already such a big player, a big leader, a big, you could almost be like the litmus test for this team in general about whether they're going to do well or not. Um, she with how impactful she has tried to seemingly take it up a notch even more so that the team could get more of that juice. But, she did her best. Just ultimately, Seattle showed that they needed a Skylar Diggins in that regard. So, in a lot of regards, honestly, I think Coach Quinn after the game basically said we didn't have Skylar, which not the greatest answer from a coach, but still telling, I mean, obviously we all will know the value that Skylar has, but it's still fascinating to, hear a head coach say that, right? So sorry, I'm trying to pull up Interesting that Alana Smith has the most blocks in the league this year. Oh, Ezzy's behind with 48. She's three behind Smith. Okay. Interesting. Also interesting that Skylar and NECA are tied for the most blocks this season, at 17. 16. They're in 17th place in the league. Interesting. I am trying to find win shares. Ah, yes, Ezzy, interestingly, if Basketball Reference uses win shares, it's like their version, I think, of WAR in baseball, wins above replacement. Nafisha Collier's number one. They've got NECA at 7, Skylar at 16 with 2.6. Ezzy is at 2.6 to be at 17th, just behind her. So yeah, bro, let's take her out and play Dom Malonga. Like an aggregator account, dude. Sorry. Anyway, yeah, no, really, just really have been liking the basketball that Ezzy has been playing um for a few weeks now, honestly. Coach Quinn did let it slip, said she's been feeling healthier. We still don't know what exactly that is about with an injury like that. What with an injury generally, sorry. We may not ever know what that's about. They might try to keep that under wraps, which sure, but still a little bit interesting um, to hear that. So kind of a quieter game. I mentioned Nick, a kind of a quieter game, 10 points on 5 of 10 shooting, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals in this one. Gabby, they were able to actually play Gabby less than 30 minutes this time, which is nice. 10 minutes, 10, sorry, 24 minutes, 10 points, 4 rebounds, 7 assists, though. 7 assists leading the Storm, 3 steals, 1 block. Uh, that's something that also really intrigues me about Gabby is I think I've talked about it on this show, I've talked about it on our Storm Round Table, but uh seeing Gabby be like a primary ball handler at times. I've talked about how I don't like seeing Skylar not be the primary ball handler when she's on the court. Um, you know, I just think she's too valuable on the ball to uh take her off of it when she's on the court. But I remember at times last year, Gabby bringing the ball up the court. So it's just interesting again to see that she really is the French Army knife. She can do all of these things on and off the on the court. Her offense is really improved. She's showing that she can score over three from beyond the 3 point range tonight. Unfortunately, she's been so much better though at shooting the three this year. Um, her defense is obviously ridiculous. 3 steals, which her steal numbers are ridiculous. Um, just seeing everything that she can do is pretty remarkable. But yeah, Erica Wheeler, nice 13 points, 5 of 10 shooting, 3 for 4 from 3 point range, though. Some big 3 pointers in the first half to help kind of keep the offense, keep ratcheting it up, keep turning it up a bit, ensuring that they were going to pull away. 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal. Really interesting though. I think that 7 minute stretch might have come in the second quarter. That was when Seattle only scored 13 points in that second quarter, but they held Chicago to 8, um, which is pretty remarkable. Again, given the 26-point first that Seattle had, to add on a little bit in the second quarter, and then come out and explode. Seattle's had some pretty good third quarters this year. 31-point third quarter in this one to really blow things away. Um, pretty good point totals outside of that second quarter, but even then, at the second quarter, again, holding Chicago to just the 8 kind of bails you out of feeling bad about that second quarter. Thankfully, we could be here and feeling like that wouldn't be it. Uh, Skylar, go over a few other things. Skylar reached her 900th career rebound. She also dished out the 3 assists, as I mentioned, her 64th consecutive game with 3 or more assists, which ties Sue Bird for the longest such streak in franchise history. Uh, so that's pretty cool as well. She also made her first career regular season 3 pointer at the very end of the game. I think it was like 25 seconds left, and the whole bench was loving it. So that was really cool. She reached 100 career. Dominique Malonga, this is reached 100 career points, becoming the youngest player in WNBA history to do so, and recorded the first multi-block game of her career. Gabby Williams is on pace for the league's highest steals average in a season since 2013. Picked up the 3 steals, as I mentioned, and a block for her league high 19th multi-steal game of the season, which is pretty remarkable there. Ezzy's 5 rebounds helped her pass Camille Little for fifth on the Storm franchise rebounding list at 1,132. What else we got? Nneka became the third fastest player in franchise history to reach 100 steals at 62 games. Yes, okay. So there's some highlights on that. Seattle led the entire game outside of the 2-2 tie in the first few minutes of the game. So that's pretty remarkable. Chicago's 57 points was the lowest total this year by a Seattle opponent, one less than Golden State managed. Oh, back on July 16th in the 67-58 win. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, Coach Quinn said it's fun when you execute. Yeah, no, yeah. Discipline and doing the right things consistently. Yeah, yeah. Hmm. When you're able to bring in everyone off the bench and everyone is really contributing, that says something. That does something for the feel and the vibe and the aura. They got great play in a lot of places. Yeah, they did. At the end of the day, this is a great complete team win. Again, acknowledging that Chicago was hampered by injury. They did not have Angel Reese, one of the best players in this league. They did not have Courtney Vandersloot, one of the greatest guards of all time. You're without an Ariel Atkins. You're without Michaela Newere. That's four key players for this guy. Even taking that into consideration, you handled business. You got a complete team effort. You were able to give your starters some rest in this one. Great. I think there was a point though where Skylar Diggins was in 20 when they were up by 29. I was like, hey, probably should take her out. Like, let's play it completely safe here and let's not mess around. But no, again, my big takeaways, Skylar comes back, shows why she's so valuable, shows why she was missed in the last game. You're able to get the complete team effort, and you get some really key bench contributions in Malonga and Lexie Brown. Again, not someone that I thought I'd say that about, but here we are. So yeah, man. I hope you enjoyed that. Hope you had some fun. Certainly the Storm had some fun in this win. Again, fourth place in the entirety of the league, third in the Western Conference right now behind Minnesota and Phoenix. They continue this 3-game road trip. They go and play the Mystics on Saturday, July 26th at 4:30 p.m. Pacific time. I believe that's a local broadcast game. Let me get this on here because I like to look at the ESPN setup because it's got everything really for the schedule. It's got everything kind of there and presented to you. Yes, Coma 4/CW Seattle for that game against the Mystics in terms of the broadcast. And then Monday, July 28th at Connecticut is a 4 p.m. start. That's on ESPN 3 to close out the 3-game road trip. So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed this Storm post-game report. If you ever have any thoughts on the game, any questions, anything I can answer, feel free to let me know. So until we see you next time, take care of yourselves, be well, do what you can to make today a great day.
Hey, Charles.
Hey, Jen.
Hey, where are you going to watch the Seattle Storm away games this year?
Away games. Well, Rough and Tumble is the home of Circling Seattle Sports. So I was thinking of coming here if that's okay with you.
I think that makes a lot of sense. See you all here.